Good morning, how are you? Can you hear me? How are you? Can you hear me? Can you write me anything, please? Can you hear me now? Hello, Pablo. How are you? Hello, Inés, Rodri. How are you? Hello, Julia. Are you fine? You okay? Can we start? Tell me something. Can you hear me well? I'm asking you. Can you hear me well? Thank you, Inés. Julia. Okay. Julia, congratulations. Good. But now we're going to start our class about population. It's you need to be prepared, and you have to get before you your notes, and we are going to start doing this exercise. So everybody is prepared and ready, and go to page number 3 in your exercise section, and I need your contribution. So exercise 5. Point out the right answer. And the first question is, which of these belong to a gender group? And you have to choose between unemployed, females, and teenagers. So, a gender group, unemployed, females, take a look at the spelling females, and teenagers. Unemployed are people that are jobless. They unfortunately don't have a job. Females, this is a synonym of women, and teenagers are people that are between 13 and 19. A gender group is number 2, females. Good. B, which of these belong to an age group? We have under fives, so children that aren't 5 yet. Christians, socialists. An age group, yes, is number 1, under fives. Good. Now, see, which of these belong to a religious group? So Buddhists, males, and students. Males is a synonym with men. Students, people that are studying, and Buddhists, this is a kind of religion. Okay, Buddhism. Good. So the number 1 is the correct answer. D, which of these belong to an active population group? And we have pensioners, people, elderly people that can't work anymore, primary children, you that are going to school, workers. An active population group is number 3, workers. Good. So, E, which of these belong to an ethnic group? Ethnic group. Muslims, this is a religious group. Japanese, could be. And billionaires, this is a wealth group, an economic group. So, Japanese is the correct answer. F, which of these belong to an educational group? And we have number 1, illiterates, people that can't write and can't read. Atheists, people that have no religion at all. Or Greeks, population that lives in Greece. And educational groups is number 1, illiterates. Very good. G, which of these belong to a social class? So Afro Americans, whites, or poor? A social class. Afro Americans, whites, or poor? Number 3, poor. Good. And 8. Which of these is not a religious group? Jews, gypsies, this is the English for our Spanish, gitanos, etnia gitana, and Protestants. Jews and Protestants are religious groups. Gypsies is not a religious group. Very good. I think this is easy for you. You are very clever. So, number 6. Answer these questions. What is the absolute population of a country? So, this is the theme. This is today's theme. So, the population, the absolute population of a country is the exact number of people that live in an area, in a country, in a region, in an autonomous community, in a city, in a town. So this is the exact number of people that live in an area. Good. B. What is the basic unit to measure absolute population? So the basic unit is normally million of inhabitants, millions, okay, or maybe thousands. Good. Now, what is population density? This is more complicated because you have to make a division between the number of people that live in an area and the zone surface. You have to make a division. So this is population density. We want to see more about that. D. And which two data are needed to calculate the population density of a country? You need two figures. One of them is the number of people, okay, the absolute population, and the other data you need is the extension of the area. And finally, E. How can we calculate the population density of an area? Okay, we told it. This is a division between the number of people and the surface of this area. Very good. Now let's go to our text section, text part, and you have there the theory. So absolute population and population density. These are two things that are related but are not the same. So the exact number of people that live in an area is called absolute population. Okay. But most times the population is not evenly distributed across the territory. And then we need to know the population density, because normally, in Madrid is very clear, normally people tend to live in urban areas, okay? Madrid is an urban area. Alcalá de Henares, Leganés, Barcelona. So people go there to make a living. Okay. And in the countryside, there are little villages, okay, or towns, and the population is not evenly distributed. Okay, people crowded in urban areas, and there are many other zones, especially in Spain, but in all countries is the same, where it's very difficult to see people walking down on the countryside. So if you divide the absolute population between the surface of this area, you get the population density. And this is the average people that live in each square kilometer. Okay, and this is very important. We calculate the population density by dividing the absolute population in a zone by the zone's surface. Okay, and to know more about that, I like you to go to this. We only have two video clips, and this is about population distribution and density. So pay attention.
Where do most people live? Are they close together or far apart? People are not distributed evenly around the world. Every 10 years, each country carries out a census to count the total number of people and record where they are living.
So remember, every 10 years in all countries in the world, in Spain as well, there is a census. And this census, you have here the caption of this slide. The census tells us about the number of people that live in an area. in an area. So this is a census every 10 years. Every 10 years. In Spain, we have two different registries. One of them is called census, and the other is called padrón. Okay, so each of them are made every 10 years, every 10 years, every 9 years, or sometimes every 11 years. Okay, but you have first census. In 5 years' time, you have padrón. In 5 years' time, you have census as well, and then padrón. This is the situation in Spain. Okay, and you have to distinguish between urban population and rural population. Urban population is the people that live in big cities, okay, Madrid. You can be considered part of a urban population. And rural population is people that live in the countryside, in villages, in towns. Okay, good.
Thanks to the data these provide, we know that most people live in urban areas, and more than half of the world's population lives near the ocean. About 90
Attention, so half of the population of the world live in urban areas. Half of the population of the world, okay, and a lot of them, more than half, lived on the coastline. Okay, not inside continents. Okay, the coastline. This is very clear in the case of every country, especially in Spain.
90% of the Earth's people live on 10% of the land.
90% of the people live in the 10% of the land. So the population is not evenly distributed. There are many areas that are without any inhabitants. Okay, you can think of the deserts. You can think of the North Pole or the South Pole, the Antarctica. Okay, no people living there.
And about 90% live north of the equator. Population distribution is determined by climate, natural resources, work opportunities, and social services. Density refers to how many people there are in a given area. Usually, cities have a higher population density than rural areas. The city-state of Monaco has the world's highest population density because it's so small.
So Monaco is so small, and there live a lot of people. So if you divide the number of people that live in Monaco between the surface, you have a very big number. Okay, that's why population is one of the maybe the city or the country. Monaco is a country, okay, small country, but this is a country that has the highest population density in the world.
Whereas large countries such as Mongolia and Australia
Mongolia and Australia are countries that have a very low population density. Why is it? Because in Mongolia there is a very huge extension of deserts, and in Australia there are four deserts. Okay, almost the whole territory, is occupied by deserts. 4 of them.
are the least densely populated.
Very good. And now please, let's go back to our text. So, want to study how population is represented, and to do that, we need to know some things about graphs. Okay, there are many kinds of graphs, and graphs are used to represent a lot of things. And the point of a graph is to see at a glance a content. So we have several types of graphs. These three and the population pyramid. These are only examples. There are many more different kinds of graphs, and your task is to be able to interpret, okay, to take to take sense, to make sense of a graph. So it's you have there this text. The numbers that reflect population are usually large. That's why statisticians are the people that make statistics. Okay, people that have studied a lot of mathematics. It's they make graphs, and the point of a graph is to take at a glance um, to convey an important message. So, okay, it's among these figures there are line graphs, bar charts, pie charts, and pyramid graphs. And you have here an example of a line graph. A line graph is very easy to understand because you have here a line, and you can see how this line, this red line, is increasing, is going up little by little. Okay. And you have here the dates, years, and you have here a kind of figures about million inhabitants. So the title of these graphs is the evolution of the population between 1996 and 2008. And you have here the first year, 1996, and here you have the last year, 2008. And you can see how the population is going up during all these years. Okay, in contrast, you have here another type of graph, and this is called a bar chart. Bar, because you have here bars. This one, another, okay, different bar. And this is the population of Spain, and you need to remember that we have two coordinates. Here in the x coordinate, you have the years. So 1917, 1980, so 1970, sorry, 1980, 1990, 2000s, okay, and so on. And here, in this part, you have 30, 34, and these are million people. So you can see just at a glance, you have seen that population in Spain has been increasing from 34 million people in 1917 to 47 million people in 2010. Okay, so that's the point of a graph. You can see the information at a glance in a very quick view. So, and here you have another kind of graph. This is called a pie chart. Pie chart. Pie chart is kind of pie. Okay, you have a red part and a blue part. The red part represents female population, women, and the blue part male population. You can see in just a quick view that there are slightly more female people in Spain than male people. Slightly more, 41% women and 51% it's female and 49% male people in Spain. Okay, very good. So this is interesting, and you have here in your presentation, you have here the same. This is very clear. So line graphs are very easy to recognize because you have here a line. So this is a line graph. Remember what we are talking about in maths. Okay, yesterday we talked about the coordinates. Remember that we called this coordinate this coordinate the x coordinate, and these vertical coordinates y coordinates. And to rightly interpret this line graph, you have to read this part. These are years, 1950, 1960, and so on. Okay, this is the population that is expected in 2050, This is the world population, and in this part you have billions. Remember that in English a billion is 1,000 millions. It's different from the Spanish. Good, very good. So you can see here the variation of this population. This is expected until 2050. We are here in this moment, 2020, and there are 7.5 billion of people today. Very good. And this is another kind of graph. This is pie chart. Okay, this is Spain's population by gender. You can see here female and male population. So all girls, all women are together here, and here all boys and men are together here. And all in all, there are slightly more female people in Spain than male people in Spain. And this is a very important graphs in population, and they are called population pyramids. And this is the population pyramid of Spain just 4 years ago. We're going to study that. A population pyramid is called a pyramid because the shape of this graph is very similar to a pyramid. Can you see it? More things. You have on one side, normally on your right side, you have the female population, all of them together, and on the other side, the male population, all boys and men together. Well, this is important. So in this part, the red part, are women, all girls. And here, in the blue part, you have boys or men. Very good. But here you have some bars, and in between you have the age group. So these are boys, little boys, maybe babies, that are between 0 and 4. Okay, they are maybe 2 years old, 3 years old, 4 years old. But if one of them is 5 years old, it jumps, or he or she jumps to the other bar. Can you see here? Can you see here? And these bars represent, in this case, the population, the million of inhabitants, men inhabitants in Spain that are between 25 and 29. Okay, you can see the length of this bar. In this case, you have the length of this bar in the case of women. Okay, so the interesting thing in this pyramid population, this kind of graphs, is that if you are now here, in 5 years' time, you are in the other bar, okay, above. In 5 years' time, you are jumping from one bar to the other. So now imagine people that are between 40 and 44 years. They are here now, but in 5 years' time, they are going to jump to the other bar. And here you have a number of million, maybe 2 million people that are between 40 and 44, and 2 million people, women, okay, that are same age. But then there are less population, fewer number of people. Why? Because maybe some of them died. Why? Because maybe some of them migrate. You understand? And so on. And finally, you have here the top of the pyramid. You have here the number of people, that elderly people that are between 19 and 94. You can see that there are more females or women than men. Okay, and more approaching 100 years old, are more females than males. In the case of Spain, okay, this is real. And now, in order to better understand that, I'd like you to watch to the next and last video clip about population pyramids. Pay attention.
Life resumed.
Oh, sorry.
China's population pyramid.
Sorry.
Russia, with the largest territory in the world, has roughly the same total population as Nigeria, a country 1/16 its size. But this similarity won't last long. One of the populations is rapidly growing, while the other is slowly declining. What can this tell us about the two countries? Population statistics are some of the most important data social scientists and policy experts have to work with. But understanding a country's situation and making accurate predictions requires knowing not just the total size of the population, but its internal characteristics, such as age and gender distribution. So how can we keep track of all that data in a way that makes it easy to comprehend? Complex data is more easily interpreted through visualization, and one of the ways that demographers represent the internal distribution of a population is the population pyramid.
Pay attention, this is the population pyramid. So remember, this part represents women or girls, and this blue part represents men or boys. Okay, here the bottom you have babies, people that are between 0 and 4 or 5, and so on. It's a population pyramid. Pay attention, this is very, very interesting and important.
Here, the data is divided by gender, with females on one side and males on the other. The population numbers are shown for each 5-year age interval, starting from 0 to 4 and continuing up to 100 and up. These intervals are grouped together into pre-reproductive, 0 to 14, reproductive, 15 to 44, and post-reproductive years, 40.
So that means that these 3 bars are people that can have children. Children can have children. So you can have children if you are approaching 19 years old, okay, and until more or less until 45. This is the reproductive sectors of the population, and this part here are people that can't have children anymore because they are old. Okay, it's not easy for them to have children.
45 and up. Such a population pyramid can be a powerful predictor of future population trends. For example, Rwanda's population pyramid shows it to be a fast-growing country. With
Attention, okay, this is Rwanda population. Rwanda is an African country. So this is the population of Rwanda. Can you see here, the bottom, there are many children, but as they are growing up, there are fewer and fewer until finally there are very few elderly people. Why is it? Maybe because they die. Maybe because they don't have a proper healthcare system. Maybe because they are migrating.
With most of the population being in the youngest age groups at the bottom of the pyramid, the number will grow rapidly in the coming years. As today's children reach their reproductive years and have children of their own, the total population is almost certain to double within the next few decades. For our second example, let's look at Canada, where most of the population is clustered around the middle of the graph. Because there are less people in the pre-reproductive age groups than there are in the reproductive ones, the population will grow more slowly as the number of people reaching their reproductive years decreases. Finally, let's look at Japan. Because
This is Japan, okay? Here, few children. Here, a little more people that can have children. But here, above 44, a lot of elderly people. So in the future, Japanese population is going to decrease.
the majority of its population is in its post-reproductive years, and the number of people is smaller at each younger interval, this means that at current rates of reproduction, the population will begin to decline as fewer and fewer people reach reproductive age. Comparing these three population pyramids side by side shows us three different stages in the demographic transition as a country moves from a pre-industrial society to one with an industrial or post-industrial economy. Countries that have only recently begun the process of industrialization typically see an increase in life expectancy.
Remember, life expectancy is the life until which a person is expected to live. Okay, in Spain is for men is very near 80. For women is more than 80, 83, 84. Okay, and child mortality is the number of children that are expected to die before reaching 10 years.
Expectancy and a fall in child mortality rates as a result of improvements in medicine, sanitation, and food supply, while birth rates remain constant, leading to a population boom. Developing countries that are farther along in the industrialization process begin to see a fall in birth rates due to factors such as increased education and opportunities for women outside of childrearing, and a move from rural to urban living that makes having large families less economically advantageous. Finally, countries in advanced stages of industrialization reach a point where both birth and death rates are low, and the population remains stable or even begins to decline. Now let's take a look at the projected population pyramids for the same three countries in 2050.
Pay attention. This is a prediction. And it's between Rwanda, the African country, Canada, the American country, and Japan.
What do these tell us about the expected changes in each country's population? And what kinds of factors can alter the shape of these future pyramids? A population pyramid can be useful not only as a predictor of a country's future, but as a record of its past. Russia's population pyramid still bears the scars of World War II.
Oh, this is Russia. So in the World War II, there were many Russian people that died in the war. Okay, many of them. So pay attention. Explanation here.
Which explains both the fewer numbers of elderly men compared to elderly women.
Can you see? Okay, fewer elderly men than elderly women, because many of them died in the World War II in Russia.
And the relatively sudden population increase as soldiers returned from the war and normal life resumed. China's population pyramid reflects the establishment of the one-child policy.
One-child policy is a policy that states that in China there was many years where people could only have one child, only one, okay, because they were overcrowded. It's the government bent to have more than one child. Remember that, as a means to stabilize the population, not to grow the population. There are too many people there. Okay, there were a lot of famines in China
35 years before, which prevented a population boom such as that of Rwanda, but also led to sex-selective abortions, resulting in more male children than female children. Finally, the pyramid for the United States shows the baby boom that followed World War II. As you can see, population pyramids tell us far more about a country than just a set of numbers, by showing both where it's been and where it's headed within a single image. And in today's increasingly interconnected world, facing issues such as food shortages, ecological threats, and economic disparities, it is increasingly important for both scientists and policymakers to have a rich and complex understanding of populations and the factors affecting them.
So very good. I think this is a very interesting video clip. And now please go back to the text part. So this is a text about the population pyramid. We're not going to read it because it is very clear from the video clip. You have here a rapid growth of a pyramid, a slow growth, and a negative growth. Rapid growth, this is the Republic of Congo in Africa. Why is rapid? Because there are many children here. So in the future, they are expected to have more and more children. Okay, and in contrast, you have here very few elderly people because of maybe of the living conditions in this country. United States, low growth. Why is it? Because you have here a very stable bars of people, okay? Not only children, but also people that are between 25 and 50. And this is a negative growth, so in the future, Germany is expected to decrease its population because in Germany, you have here this bar, there are fewer children in the future are going to have more children, okay? And this part represents women. There are more women in Germany than men, okay, as in the United States. Very good. And I like you to to see two magnificent magnificent works that two of you made about Velázquez. One of them was made. This one was made. Sorry, was made by Rodri, and this is about mythology in Velázquez. It's a very interesting work. I like you to enjoy because mythology is Rodri is going to explain it. Mythology is a very interesting thing about God and goddesses in ancient cultures. So this is the work of Rodri. What is my mythology? So beliefs in gods, in goddesses. Okay, and some examples are Greek, Roman, Aztec, Inca, many other cultures. And modern Spain was Catholic in religion, but the most important mythology in modern Spain was the Greek and Roman religion mythology. This is true. So, and then Rodrigo wants us to focus on the Renaissance painting, and he says gods are represented as ideals, and you have here a very strange slide. So, and what these Ninja Turtles had to do with mythology? Maybe you remember that one of them was Leonardo, the other one was Raphael, the other one was Michelangelo, Miguel Angel. Okay, so it's this kind of joke. And he says, Rodri says, no, Leonardo is, this is Leonardo, okay? These are these are some of the most important genius of painting in history. Okay, this is Leonardo da Vinci, this this person here, and Michelangelo. I think is this person here. I think not very sure. Donatello is this person, and Raphael, this person. Two, four important artists in the Renaissance. And then you have here some examples. These are artworks by Leonardo, Michelangelo, Donatello, and Raphael, but they are not the Ninja Turtles. So this one, this is a painting by Leonardo, and this one is a painting by uh, by Michelangelo. I think no, this is Michelangelo's, and this is Leonardo. Sorry. This sculpture, this sculpture is was made by Donatello, and this was made by Raphael. Okay? What a beautiful painting. Okay, we're talking about mythology in Velázquez. So, in Velázquez, the difference is that Velázquez was able to paint ordinary people. Ordinary people. He was the painter of the king of the court, but he loved to paint ordinary people. And some of the paintings are here. You know this. You know this painting from the other day, and this is in Spanish la fragua de Vulcano. You can see ordinary people, okay, smiths that are forging iron, but they are gods. This is volcano, the god of fire, and this is Apollo, one of the gods in the Olympus. Okay, and Apollo is telling Vulcan a bad news about his wife, about his wife. But this is the representation of a mythological scene. But Velázquez, a genius, make it a normal scene, a normal scene. Good. And we have another example here. Okay, you say that this is your neighbor, maybe. Okay, okay, but this is a god. This is Mars, the god of war. Okay, and Velázquez paints this person that could be his neighbor in any neighborhood in Spain as God, and you can see totally tired of wars. Okay, so Mars is represented tired of wars. Modern Spain was always at war. Very interesting work. And another example, Triunfo de Baco. So this Baco was another god. Okay, another god, the god of joy. And joy was represented with wine. And Velázquez represents this god totally surrounded by friends that are drinking alcohol. So why? Because alcoholism was common in modern Spain. That's true. Okay, and in literature we have many examples of people that like to drink alcohol. Okay, even Don Quixote fights against wine flasks, los pellejos de vino. Very interesting. And thanks for your attention. Thanks, Rodri, for your fantastic work. And this is not the last one, because Jorge Ruiz brought to us this work analyzing Las Meninas. And to analyze well this painting, you have to remember that. Pay attention to me. This is Velázquez, and Velázquez is painting on this canvas. Who is this painting? Who is Velázquez painting in this canvas? The people that are before Velázquez. So you and me. And you and me are seeing ourselves in this mirror. But in this mirror, you can see you and me. You can see the king and the queen. So Velázquez is telling you, you are like the king or the queen. You are important people. Okay? Remember that. And in the scene, you have here some girls. These are called meninas. Meninas is a Portuguese word that means young girl, little girl. Okay? They are the family of the king and queens, the monarch's family. And here you have some dwarfs that are taking a look at the king and the queen. And here you have some servants. And here another person that is opening this door. Because this person is opening this door, light can enter the room and we can see the painting. Oh, remember that. And you have here the picture of Las Meninas. Is a painting by Diego Velázquez. Okay, was the best painter of Spain, one of the most important, maybe the most important one. And this is the family of King Philip IV. He was born in Sevilla. We know that. Okay, and you have here some remarks about the painting. This is Velázquez. Okay, this is Velázquez, and he is painting. He's painting the king and the queen that are before him. Okay, and can be reflected here in this mirror. Okay, good. And this is a mistake of Jorge. These are not the Catholic kings. These are King Philip IV and his wife. Okay, but in fact, these monarchs are you. This is the message of Velázquez. You are like monarchs because you are the ones that are before the canvas. I'm painting you. Good, very good. So the door, this is a locksmith. It's the person that opens this door to let light enter the room. Good, good. A little down there are two people who watch the meninas, two servants, two servants. And below are the king's dwarfs, los enanos. Okay. At the time, dwarves were very appreciated in the court because they like to have joy from them. Okay, and we know the names. It's meninas are around. This is Margarita and Isabel. Okay, as meninas. Good. It's Fanta Margarita is this. Okay. Okay. Maria Sarmiento, I don't know who was Maria Sarmiento. And this is the final part of the presentation. So, thank you, Jorge, for your work. Thank you, Jorge, for your work. And this is the end of this class, and I like you to. I like you to finish that. So, thank you. Thank you to all of you. See you just a moment.